Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first of the Glistian Euro 2024 podcasts. And as if my life couldn't get any fucking worse, I'm joined by Gift Ngwenya, who's a sick Orlando Pirates supporter. Up the Makosi.
Viva Makosi.
And my best mate, Paulo, who's a sick fucking Liverpool United supporter.
Oh,
like
terrible.
the two teams I hate the most, I'm joined by my mates.
Don't confuse Liverpool United. That's the team in your village there in the UK. It's called Liverpool Football Club. That's the big family around the world.
Well done, guys. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Gift, Paulo. We're going to, can hear a couple of dogs barking. I'm here at Piers Stradham's house. We normally do racing stuff, but the Euros are coming up. I thought we'd just have a look at the whole tournament first. So we'll take turns, chuck in a couple of multilingual replies there if you can. But overall, what are you guys thinking? Gift, what are you thinking the Euro 2024 looks like?
Well, listen, I'm excited. I mean, I just think coming down from the 53 nations that are in the UEFA, submission, bringing them down to 23, obviously Germany being the host, so they automatically qualified as well. So now we got 24 teams. Really, really, really big stuff there. Leading up to the tournament, two big names to talk about there. Romelu Lukaku being the top goal scorer as we went towards the UEFA's. I mean, he's sitting on 14 goals already. We could never discount Cristiano. Cristiano was right there behind him with 10 goals as well. So the big names are coming through to the big stage. So we're really quite excited. I mean, if you look at the host nation itself, we want to talk about them a little bit. I mean, West Germany having won it, quite a while back, and now they're here again, back hosting it now. So it's exciting to see them there. A lot of teams that haven't qualified. I'm sure we're going to touch on that as we go as well. But that's West Germany for us. We're there. We're excited.
Paulo?
I'm worried about Gift. He's back to the days of the wall, talking about West Germany. He doesn't know that they broke down the wall and now East and West is one. Germany.
Well, this
is why we get you a sponsor to buy you a ticket to Berlin, buddy, so you can see the walls come down a while back. So Germany, I do agree with Gift, though. Host country, professionals at tournaments, very overlooked thus far in the tournament. I think the right teams have qualified. It's not like in the World Cup where the European champions Italy failed to qualify. I think the right teams have qualified for this last stage. There could be a little bit of debate about Sweden, but in the end, you take your chances and you qualify. But other than that, I think the right teams qualified. I think the draw has been a little bit biased. And we'll talk about that later, how some of the big teams are piling up on the one side of the draw, and that might play into the hands of some of the minnows. But in saying all of that, I think a lot of the qualifying results flatter these teams. Portugal going unbeaten in what I call the group of the blind. It was almost like Sundowns playing against 𝐊𝐶𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐿 United here in South Africa. There wasn't really a lot of competition, so Portugal looks really good being unbeaten in the qualifiers. So I think particularly on the left-hand side of the draw, we're going to see some upsets, and I think that's good for football. A lot of young players being selected, and all of this in the middle of a very exciting transfer window. So that's going to be a lot of players on the showcase, so it's going to be exciting.
And Paulo, I know, but for those that have watched the first few minutes, why should we listen to you? Because you've been following football and you've got one of your trainer's badges from at some point in your life. Coach badge. What do they call these things now? The thing that 𝐾𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐬𝐿 giving away. What do they call those things?
Yeah, they give them away. If you buy 10 hamburgers at Five Guys, you get a coach's badge for free on the 11th one. Yeah, so I'm a level 1 qualified coach from the Football Association in the UK. I'm
Brilliant.
Now a certified FIFA football agent, and I know a little bit about football. I write a little bit about football in one of the local South African publications every now and again, the Sporting Post, and I've predicted a few controversial ones, like pay out the winner in December a couple of times quite well. But basically, I can just talk a lot of nonsense about football, right?
And Gift, you follow it religiously, eh?
I follow soccer religiously. Listen, I'm a big, obviously Barcelona fan. That's where I'm coming from, and I love
East or West, Gift, East or West.
I just love Barcelona. I love the way they nurture their players, bring them up, and I mean, we look at Messi, and you know what Barcelona is capable of. Madrid will always be top, the top team, top side. Their manager is absolutely, or rather, their president is rather an incredible guy. I mean, to bring in Mbappe on a free transfer, what an incredible move from him there. And obviously getting him to eventually commit to Madrid, quite exciting. I wanted to touch a little bit on Serbia. I mean, Serbia qualified, guys. I mean, we thought they would not make it. And here they are, a duck horse coming from probably the weakest group as well.
But listen to me.
That's going to be quite something to have a look at as well. I think England, with a young team, losing two big players that actually didn't make the call-up, that's also going to be a little bit of a setback for them. But I really think they are what we call the glory team at the moment. Young players, the future of soccer, looking absolutely great there. So, I mean, Portugal's got the backing of the big man himself there, Cristiano. I mean, he's breaking a record now, coming in probably as the oldest player for this tournament as well. Still scoring goals left, right, and center. We're looking to see him do some upsetting things there. So I think this is going to be one hell of a tournament.
So everybody does podcasts and all this, right? We do unique stuff here at Glistian, right? And I'm about to share a screen with you, Oaks. There are 11 telephones in the world right now. And I want you, Oaks, to quickly go through what messages are being sent on these phones. So how's this for a team, eh? Should we have, like in the Olympics, the team that never made it be allowed to participate?
You look at this lineup and you look at a guy like Rashford. I mean, he's probably playing his best football, I think. He's had a very good season as well. It's going to be hard to actually understand why some of these guys are not actually on that team there.
How's this for a team, mate?
No, I completely disagree. I think there's a story for every one of these guys not making it, and I think, if I was a supporter of any of the teams that these players represent, I'd be very happy that none of these are there in my team.
Whoa, straight in for the jugular. But that's not the question, right? Should we have an unbranded 11 playing in the Euros?
No, they'll finish last. They'll finish last.
When I look at that list, and I look at a guy like Maguire and I think about what he's done, that's a bit crazy. That guy has literally been a problem for England. I don't know how he made the squad. He was promising prior to him making the national team. When he came on board, it's not been a great journey for him on that particular level. Even at club level with of course his team, he hasn't really been a great player. So not too surprised Maguire's not in that side as well.
Listen, fair play.
I think these guys, if they were a team, let's call them country X, they finish last. Yeah, literally. I mean, some of these guys are way past their sell-by date. Tall huff and no puff. Maguire would be picking fights in bars whilst on holiday. Tonali would be taking bets on who gets in the first punch. Rashford would probably be raising funds for some nice charity, and Grealish would be combing his hair. So, not for me. All happy that they're not there. Rubbish team. Kick them out.
Right. They are out. They are not turning up. They probably.
Gavi coming from the Spanish team, young man, 19 years old, should really be taking the horns, and trying to prove himself, having only played 8 games, scored 2 goals. And he's not showing promise. I mean, these are some of the stats that these guys have got that have led to them not actually making that final call.
100%. Okay, guys, let's go through the groups quickly. And then we'll touch on a few things that you can throw in. Group A, the main fixture there got to be Switzerland, Germany, eh? The bratwurst versus the knife, the pocket knife.
Correct. And Switzerland, lots of great results in the lead up to this tournament. Switzerland, of course, have got a lot of experience in the side. They're journeyman players, no superstars in the team. You'll remember the heroic performance by their coach in the World Cup. They're always there or thereabouts, always discounted. And of course, rivalry with the Germans. But the Germans, business as usual. They've struggled over the last few years. They've got a young, dynamic, creative manager who hasn't been afraid to kick out some of the old names and bring in some youngsters into the team. They've got a revitalized 𝐏𝐻𝐻 in the side. They've got what for me is one of the most exciting players in world football in the team, Jamal Musiala. And I think Germany, you're going to discount them at their peril. It's ingrained into the German psyche to do well at tournaments. They know how to get through tournaments. Remember, tournaments are not like leagues or cups. It's not a once-off. It's not a week by week. There's a lot of strategy and game planning here. And they've got the creative manager to get them back on track. I think they'll dawdle this group. I think that there will be a great match, Germany-Switzerland, who will try to frustrate them. I think the wild pack in here is going to be Hungary because they've got a really strong young side. Dominik Szoboszlai is a force of nature in defense. They've got a great goalkeeper. They've got a couple of very young players also coming through the ranks who are creative, not afraid to take on the big guns. But I see Germany cleaning this up, and then Switzerland and Hungary fighting over that valued second spot, with possibly Hungary edging Switzerland. So, yeah, I'm thinking of a match that Germany against Switzerland, but I don't see Germany faltering too much in this group.
Okay, and Gift?
Yeah, listen, Germany is under a lot of pressure. I mean, they're obviously the hosts, so the pressure's on them to make sure that everything goes according to plan, especially for them opening the tournament. Watched Hungary yesterday playing their game live. They won. They looked impressive. They looked solid. I think they will definitely, I agree with Paulo. I think they're going to be that black horse that comes in sometimes from the back. You got to watch out for them. Their team is pretty solid as well. Their coach is quite confident. I mean, he's got a good resume behind him as well. Listen, Germany, Switzerland, it's going to be that big match in this particular group as well. I agree. I do have to say that I think Germany will take this group at all costs. They have to, and the Germans are obviously renowned for being aggressive. They don't want to lose, and they want to see this competition at least probably through to the last stage.
Okay, so the two lads are going Germany to win the group. Danger Hungary. The best price you can get Germany is 4-10 to win the group. The best price you can get Hungary is 9-1 to win the group. So
Yeah.
your question really is, do you want to take the 4-10 or do you want to have a small wager on the 9-1? Right. Group B. There's always a group in every tournament. The group of death. The group of death, they're calling it. Spain, Italy, Croatia, Albania. I mean, it's a 3-horse race, but it's a complicated group, this, huh? Gift?
Group B, the Spanish, listen, they've never disappointed. I think I see them as well.
Apart from South Africa. Didn't they disappoint in South Africa?
Listen, that was a very difficult time for them. I just think they were not ready for that. I think the climate played against them. There's a lot of small little factors that are, attributed to them. But I think they've become a more solid side now. They've lost the big names. They're rebuilding their team again. I think we've got some top names in there as well. Paulo?
Yeah, listen, for me, I do see this as, I think there's two groups of death. This is certainly one of them. I think Spain, lots of young players, lots of creativity, and they're going to grind out. They're going to grind it out. Definitely through to the next round. I don't have a problem with that. Croatia, if you watched last night, Croatia went to Portugal and dawdled the huff and puff unbeaten Portuguese team and showed them how grit works. Luka Modric, this is his swan song of a tournament. He's going to want to go out on a high. Remember, Croatia was third in the World Cup. That was just the other day, two years ago. And they'll be out there. And where I think the big gun will fall will be Italy. It's been 2 years of rebuild. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. Lots of changes at managerial level. They seem to be a little bit more settled, but what Italy still lacks, in my opinion, is a
Guys,
finisher.
we've got
Still,
Eric.
they haven't got-
Eric wants to get in.
Okay, well, let Eric get in and tell us what he thinks. And actually, Eric knows how much I touted Italy for the last European Championships from before the tournament. And I was right. And I'm saying that this time they might struggle to get through the first stage because there's no finisher in the team. There's nobody to put the goals in.
In that particular group, I would be going under on the goals. I think it's going to be a tight group there. I don't see flurry of goals. Hello, Eric.
Hi.
How's it? Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
We know you. We know you're short for time. We've touched on a few things already. We did put out what I thought was an interesting 11. The lads have shot the boys down. I'll let you have a quick peek because I just think it's fair for everybody to have a go. Tell us what you think of this 11. A bit harsh.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree because, you know, I'm looking at Jack Grealish. I don't think he had a great season. Marcus Rashford, similarly. I don't think he had a great season. Courtois spent a lot of the season obviously very well injured and only really came back right towards the end. So that's kind of understandable. So I think the boys got it right.
Some big names there, eh? Some big names. Eric, yeah, so thanks for your time. Listen, do you want to just quickly touch, what do you think this tournament really looks like at the end? And who would be the team that we think is probably under the radar? Paulo's already mentioned Hungary. You know, just what do you think? I mean, it's a great tournament. And, of course, you played in Europe. And, you know how hard it is and how valued this tournament is. So what do you think? What do you think the final looks like? And who's the team that's floating under there?
I think that's a very difficult question because I think what we've seen already just from the friendlies itself, you know, that everybody would assume that England, with the type of squad that they've got, that they're going to be a strong team, but they ended up losing to Iceland. You know, so I think you know, this tournament this year, I think is pretty much open. To be brutally honest, yes, I think favorites in my mind. Obviously, France. I think of France. I think of Spain. I think of Portugal. I think of England. But we've seen from the friendlies that have been played recently that, you know, there's no guarantees. So I think it's pretty much open, and we could see quite a few surprises in this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think personally. I was looking at it the other day. I don't think we're going to have a gazillion goals in this tournament. I might end up being wrong. Definitely in Group B. I'm going to be going on the unders on the goals because I think it's a very tight group. Paulo, do you have a question for Eric?
No. So first, Eric, congratulations. Just missing out on top 4 with your team, Cape Town City, in the league as it ended just the other day. But congratulations, good finish, finishing 5th. I agree with what Eric's sentiments are. I think it totally could be in the end, it could be all the favorites who land up in the last 4, I suppose. Often it is like that. But I think this could be the year where we see some breakthrough teams. You know, teams like, I mentioned Hungary, Serbia, Gift mentioned Serbia. They've been very impressive. Also a team that's not scared to take on the big teams. And I think, and I'm going to be very controversial here, Belgium dumped their manager and sent him off to Portugal. And I think ever since they've done that, Belgium, despite being at the end of their golden generation, have started to play really attractive football. They do find themselves on the wrong side of the draw once again. So it's going to be tough for them to get through. And a lot of those favorites are, as I said earlier, on the wrong side of what I think is the wrong side of the draw, the right-hand side. They're going to play each other in the early stages, and there's going to be casualties of these big teams. So we could see somebody sneaking in, and we could see, at least in the semifinals, we're going to see 1 or 2 teams that are not the usual suspects.
Okay. Gift, something for Eric?
Yeah, Eric, I'm looking at Portugal. Portugal sitting on an 8-1 rate right now. Very, very, very fancied. I think that's the team to look at. I want to hear your take on it, on what you think in that Portugal side. I mean, they have a squad that's littered with top-level Premier League players, such as Diogo Jota, Pedro, Neto, Joao Palhinha. I mean, that
And
team
a good
looks
manager.
really,
And
yes,
a good
yes.
manager.
But you know, that team looking absolutely solid. You know, and for me, I see them in the final with probably England. That's going to be my take. I think England is going to be the squad that comes up to upset. They want it, and they want it badly, having never really won it. So, what's your view on those two teams, Eric?
Yeah, I think Portugal definitely. Portugal, I think, will be there or thereabouts. But again, you know, I've always been a Cristiano Ronaldo fan all my life. I was still living in Portugal when he made his debut at Sporting at the age of 17.
Sure.
And I loved him then. But I think his time has come and gone. And I think actually if they decide to start him and play him regularly, I don't think Portugal will get far. I think, you know, maybe utilizing him off the bench to possibly get a result.
Yeah.
Yes. But all the games that I've watched Portugal play without him, I think they play a brand of football that is
brilliant.
That is really, really good. And whenever he plays, everything has to basically funnel through him.
Yeah.
And too much attention is put on him, you know. So I think Portugal stand a great chance, but is the coach going to be brave enough to make that decision by not starting him? That's going to be the big question for me. And I think, yes, I think they potentially could go all the way. France, for me, still the quality that they possess, I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. You know, England, yes, I see a lot of quality in the team, but
No.
a lot of them are not necessarily starters in the clubs that they play for.
Yeah.
So I have quite a lot of questions there. One team that impressed me, now that I go back and I try and remember, I was quite impressed with Switzerland. When I saw their qualifiers, I thought they really, really did well, and they played a very, very good brand of football. So I think there's going to be a few upsets here and there, but I tend to agree with Paulo. Somewhere along the line, you're going to see the likes of Germany with the quality and the standard of football that they have. They'll be there. I think you will still see Portugal there. Belgium, also agree with Paulo. I saw some of their games, and I think they underperformed over the past 6 years, in my opinion, and of late I've seen them look a lot better. Portugal, if you remember, winning the Euro, was surprised. Nobody expected it, so maybe Belgium could do the same. You never know.
Well, it's interesting that you said that at the start of your reply there, because myself and Paulo were there when Portugal won.
Yes.
And as horrible as it is to say, the moment Cristiano got injured, they were almost a certainty to win, because
Yes.
the team does definitely play different. And remember, Paul, we were there, eh? And the moment he came off, the whole dynamic changes. And as a fantastic player that he is, and he are without a doubt, because he's so good, it's almost as if everybody else, like you say, funnels through him. And
Yes.
and if Roberto can just you know, in racing we say just count to 10 once more. If he can just sit and only bring him on as an impact player, I think they'll go far. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I think France has got a winning pedigree. They look good all around. They're delivering, but you know what they say about the tournament, the team with the best defense, and this is maybe up for discussion as well. I'm going to ask Paulo what you think. I say the team with the best defense normally makes it to the top of the tournament. And of course, in that likelihood, then of course, I'm going to go with Eric there, that France does look like the team with the best defense as we go into this tournament. I don't know.
Well, Paulo, funnily enough, as you guys know, Eric, you don't know, but we do a lot of podcasts, and our podcast is generally fucking funny. Paulo got sponsored by Vaseline once and went to Portugal when Greece won it.
Yes.
without scoring. I think they scored 3 goals in the whole tournament or something stupid, eh? Paul, do you remember?
Yeah.
Boring Greece.
Yeah, but Gift's 100% right, and that's exactly it. Sometimes, you know, it's that's how you. And Eric, as a manager, a successful manager, that he'll tell you that at the end of the day, it's about not losing the game. Obviously, you want to win the game, but not losing it goes a long way. In fact, goes mostly all the way. And you.
Yeah.
And that's what a great defense does. That, and I agree. Gift 100%. France, incredible defense. Incredibly, Portugal, a great defense as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be Roberto Martinez because, you know, unlike Pep Guardiola, who has at Manchester City 2 first 11s to pick from, Pep Guardiola's Roberto Martinez has got a slightly different mix. He doesn't have 2 first 11s. But what he does have is he's probably out of his squad of 23 has got 7 or 8 defenders and 7 or 8 midfielders, where his short is on the striker role, the guys to put the ball in the net. And he's got a lot of balance. But what he can do is not lose the games. I think the Portuguese defense, like the French defense, and in saying that, like the German defense and the Croatian defense, are very hard to break through. You saw yesterday Portugal against Croatia. And as hard as the Portuguese tried in the first half and all the position they had, they just could not break through the Croatian backline. And then all you need is a lucky break for a win. But if you don't get the lucky break, you've got a draw, you've got a point. More importantly, you've taken 2 away from the other guys, and that helps you into the next round. So 100% Gift, spot on there, great defense. Is going to win the tournament.
I agree with all of you guys, and I'll tell you what I've been looking at, and I'm telling you, it's worth having a little go. You want to take under 130 goals in the tournament, which is the outsider of the 3, by the way, under 130 goals.
So saying that, Joe, I want to go back to what you were now mentioning about Cristiano when he gets out of the team and how that team now becomes. It almost gels when he's not there because they know they have to now step up. But with every team, we're going to need to look at who's going to be the one that takes that, because I believe as well that with every team, you need to have that one guy that just takes it to the next level and puts everything on his shoulders to say, you're going to look at Harry Kane in England now and say, okay, what is he going to deliver? You're going to look at a guy like Cristiano. Is he still up for it? Mbappe coming in, he hasn't played a tournament since his last World Cup tournament. This is going to be the first tournament he's coming back to. He's a bit more relaxed, obviously, having signed now his new deal. But coming out of a final, you know, with Paris Saint-Germain, what is he going to have to offer? You know, those are the kind of stats we need to look at.
Yeah, and we will probably in another episode. I just want to pivot quickly. I'll tell you, there's a team in the world that's also about to not lose many games, and that's Fenerbahce, by the way. Mr. Negative's gone there. Mr. Negative's gone there. Anyway, that'll last about 10 months, and then there'll be a turmoil in the change room. Right, Eric, I don't know how much longer we got with you. Top goal scorer, have you had a look at it? What do you think? Golden Boot? What about Haaland? Haaland's not playing. Is it too late?
Playing, yeah,
it's too late.
Exactly.
It's too late for them. They were never in it.
And how did Haaland not make that absentee 11 of yours that you posted up earlier?
Because I can't even say the word of the team that he plays for. Like, I can't articulate it. I have this, as much hatred as I have for your team, and this, at least I can say Orlando Pirates, but I can't say your team. I can't say that team in white in Spain that Judas betrayed us and then went to I can't even say those teams, man. So Haaland should have come to Spurs.
Gentlemen, there's one team that I would like to talk about because not many have. I obviously watched them a little bit, and obviously I think they're in a bit of a rebuilding process at the moment, which is Spain. And I think Spain will also be surprising a few people.
Really?
Yeah, I think the quality that they possess is really, really good, and I think that they could be a dark horse. I don't think anybody expects them because of the rebuilding process and the youngsters that they have promoted. But some of the games that I watched prior to obviously this Euro now coming, I actually thought they're building a very, very good, soluble squad there, and potentially again like Portugal, as long as they don't choose some of the old sorts or the older players. If they go with the, I think those youngsters can actually prove a point and the ability that they have.
Do you think that they've got enough positivity in them because they're in a really tough group, eh? Like can they overcome a little bit of adversity? Do you think they've got that spirit in them? Because
I do. Because in my view, I know they're in the same group with Croatia, Italy, and Albania, but I look at Italy and I watched Italy of late, and in my brutal, honest opinion, I think Italy are really, really struggling. It's probably one of the worst Italian teams I've seen in a long time. Croatia, extremely mature team, extremely experienced team. So I think Croatia probably there for qualifying for the next round. But I honestly believe that Spain can turn over Italy, can turn over Albania, and potentially qualify. That's my view. I watched
they even money to win.
Anything special, to be honest.
Yeah, they even money to win the group, which could end up being a big price. You're probably right about Italy, but it is still a tough group, because I mean, Italy also, they put the D in defense. I don't know if you guys follow American football, but they often hold up the fence defense. But Italy are very good at that.
I learned a lot about defending when I played in Italy, let me tell you.
Did you, eh?
Yes. I learned a hell of a lot. Italy, a lot of the technical stuff that you do there is all about defense, keeping that clean sheet. So I
didn't follow your career too well. Where did you play in Italy?
I played in 𝐏𝐻𝐿.
Okay.
Many years ago.
AC had that famous defense, didn't they, for about 800 years? Baresi and all those oaks, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, Paulo, we touched on A and B. Eric's told us Spain's a certainty for the Euros 24. We can follow up on other groups later. We've been on for quite a bit already. Do you want to have a go at who do you think will win the tournament quickly? Eric's going mildly for Spain, or I don't know how aggressively he is.
No. I'm saying Spain they'll get through the group phases and they'll be there fighting. But my hope is Portugal, to be brutally honest. I've still got a house in Portugal. My wife is Portuguese. I'm half Portuguese, so.
Okay, so Eric's hoping for Portugal, but not discarding a young Spanish team. That's the best way to say it.
Yes.
Perfect. Paulo.
I'd rather go with not saying who's going to win. I'll tell you who's not going to win.
Oh, that's easy.
You got to commit, Paulo. Come on.
But if I tell you who's not going to win, first of all, Gift's going to have indigestion. Because I can see he's a Premier League fan. Okay, and then we can eliminate from there. So
you were a Premier League fan 2 years ago, and now that
I'm still a Premier League fan. I'm just a fan only of selected parts of the Premier League. So the tournament favorites are England at 3-1. That is mind-boggling, and the tournament's not even being held in England. If it was in England, I could understand the bias.
Yeah. It's
incredulous. And the favorite for player of the tournament is Jude Bellingham. And traditionally, the player of the tournament is one of the winners. He is in the team of the winners. The only thing in his favor is that he's a midfielder, and other than Donnarumma in 2020, who won the player of the tournament being a goalkeeper, the previous 10 player of the tournaments were all midfielders. England is the lay of the century. The bookies, manna from heaven. Okay, this first round because the gods of football have given them a nice group.
Hey,
who knows? They could even fall there.
I thought we had Paulo Do Carmo on this thing. It sounds like we've got Roy Keane on. Just tell us how you feel.
They are gone. They're goners. Okay, and I think the next big upset along the line, surprisingly, is going to be France. I don't think France is going to win it. I think they'll go far, but they won't win it. Too many cooks are going to spoil the broth. And I think Mbappe is starting to have the Cristiano effect on his team.
Yeah,
France plays without Mbappe and plays ridiculously well. Mr. Mbappe plays, and it's a problem. So he's going to play. Of course, he's going to play. He's on a high. He's just gotten, not for free gift, he got 85 million pounds into his back pocket. It was only free to the Arabs. Gone to Real Madrid, so he doesn't have to work for too much longer in his lifetime, but he's going to be disruptive. So they're not going to win it, but I think who will win it is going to be one out of these four: Portugal or Belgium, Germany or Croatia.
Wow.
Okay.
Are you okay?
No, he's not feeling too great.
You're not
I told
having
you from the beginning that we're going to see new names on this title. We're going to see maybe not the traditional favorites, and I really think those are the teams, mainly because I've had a good look at the draw, and I think some of these big guys are going to fall out. And when the chips are down, it's going to be about big match temperament. It's going to be about being resolute, understanding, having a coach who understands tactics, leaving the emotions out. And I think those guys, they know what to do.
Eric, I've got a little question for you before we get gifts in. Do you agree with what I'm about to say? In like 30 years ago, when Portugal played Liechtenstein or whatever, you could expect 8 goals, right? 9 goals, 10 goals. Do you think that the way football has evolved, like everything else, that the world is so much smaller that Paulo could be right, that Croatia is 40-1 to win this, probably only 40-1 because they are Croatia, because the team do play in Europe, the players have got the skills, etc., etc. Do you feel that I'm right, that everybody's much closer now?
I do, actually. I think the game has evolved immensely, and I think what we see now, let's not forget, Croatia might be 40-1, but they were in the final.
Exactly.
So not exactly. So, so you definitely can't leave them out. Italy has surprised people time and time again. As much as I'm sitting here and saying they haven't impressed me, I don't think Italian football development has gone in the right direction over the past 4, 5 years, 6 years. But you never know. The standard of football in Italy is very, very high, and they might come out and cause a surprise. I think that gap between the nations has got a lot smaller. We even see it on the African continent, with Bafana recently. Getting the result away against Nigeria 1-1 is a fantastic achievement, because it's never been done before to go to Nigeria and get a result out of that. So I think that gap has got a lot smaller across the world, and that's good for football. That's what we want to see. We don't want to go watch the Euro and see Spain hitting Albania 7 or 8-0. We want to watch and entertain, obviously. But we want to see teams matching up, and we want to see quality.
Yeah, I agree. Give us yours, and then I'm going to ask just one more question to all three of you, and then we'll finish. Give us your.
Listen, Joe, I'm going to tell you now, Germany haven't given us very impressive performances. I rated them probably third contenders to win. Listen, they're going to make, Julian is going to have to make some really good choices in order to get that team up. They never really disappoint. I mean, the Germans, 3-time winners, eager to make a lasting impression as well, obviously hosting it. But I'm going to have to put my foot in it here, Paulo. I'm going to go with France, I'm going to go with France, and I'm nailing it into France. I tell you why I'm going with France. Like you said, you just get that one guy who has got that impact. Mbappe is here to prove a point. Why have they, taken him on at Madrid to, being the next legend or the next big key player? He's got a point to prove against Cristiano Ronaldo as well. He's starting to break some of Messi's records as well, making his way up there. You've got some really, really, really good blood in there as well. I mean, you look at their midfield, N'Golo Ngate. I mean, that boy is going to be working some serious magic. You've got Warren Zaire as well in there. That team looks impressive for me. And I think they are going to be the guys to beat for this tournament. I'm going to put it right there.
Thank you, thank you. Right, so I want all of you to put tactics out the window. Let's forget that we don't need tactics in football. Just for 5 seconds, put it out of your heads, all of you. When you get to tournaments, we're all South African, there is something else that's needed. And we are very blessed, and I personally am very blessed to have been in a certain hotel the day before the final. Do you think that over and above the tactics, what something like Rassie does, what something that he does to a team, can that be the difference to winning the tournament? Is managing all these oaks and keeping them happy and enthusiastic? I mean, they're all on 200 grand a week, 300, whatever they're on. Is that the differentiator now? They're all made it there. Tactics aside, is it the team that just gels together, works together, delivers together, that's going to lift the trophy? Eric, you answer first.
I think 100% the team is the main factor here. You know, us as coaches, our job shouldn't be looking to be motivating footballers. Footballers should be self-motivated.
Yeah.
Standard that you see of those players, they'll be self-motivated because they know how important it is for themselves in order to try and win that competition. So I think it's going to be the best team that's going to win. It's not going to be about a specific individual. It's going to be how the team gels and how they get it over the line.
And I think that's where England have fallen down in the last few tournaments. You know, there's been distractions. And Paulo?
I completely agree. Very often in competitions, and we've seen that of late, often we've seen it with the Springboks, we've seen it. We spoke earlier about the boring win of Greece in the Euros. You know, they won it because they were together, they were hungry, they bonded together, they stayed out of the limelight. There was no disruptions, no protests over pay, no fighting over who sits where on the bus.
The wags.
No wags, no issues whatsoever. And players are in the right frame of mind. They're playing together, they're playing in unity. And as Eric said, you don't need to motivate a footballer, but what you do need to provide is a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. And once there's a sense of purpose, then it's there. And I just think that there are teams out here who, whether it's culturally or whether historically what their predecessors have achieved and where they find themselves at the moment, that's going to be a big factor for them. Germany is one of them. Croatia is going to be one of them. Portugal, you know, those guys, whether Ronaldo comes off the bench or not, they're going to be wanting to do it for Ronaldo. This Ronaldo, unless he takes some Tom Cruise tablets and becomes a vampire, Ronaldo, this is his last tournament. This is his last big tournament. You know, so they want to do it not just for him, but to show that they can take over the mantle and move forward.
Do you remember?
I just think some of the other teams don't have it in them. You know, so that's going to be important.
Do you remember his speech in the change rooms after they won it? How he thanked them all for what they've done in his life.
But that was 8 years ago, Joe. It feels like yesterday that we were celebrating in the streets of Paris, but it was 8 years ago.
Listen, funnily enough, I've lost as much weight in the last 8 years as what he has. So go on, Gift. Surmise for us.
I tell you what.
Mind over matter.
The change room is always a big factor, guys. We know this, and we've seen teams fall because of the change room. Some players are best suited with a style of play. I mean, you get some players who always tell you, Messi mentioned it recently in one of his interviews, to say, whatever team Pep Guardiola has got, you know, he just has this effect of the players. He has a style of play. His training in the background always makes a big impact in what the guys deliver when it comes to the final match. I think the same is going to be big here. You know, when we talk about coaches, going back to what Eric just said as well, I mean, you look at a guy like Klopp, what is done in terms of being personalized with the players, having a personal interest outside of football in the guys' lives and how they, how they're handling themselves. Did they get enough time? Does the coach get enough time, going to Europe because they've got access to these players in such short periods? Can they actually have that domino effect on them to say, guys, I can blend you all, bring you into that space? But I completely agree that outside of what you're saying, it might not be the tournament where we see Cristiano taking the the bull by the horns, or Mbappe, or even Kane himself. But I think in this tournament, I'm truly supporting you guys that it will come from that change room. It will come from what the coaches are shouting at halftime and what they're saying. What is the spirit behind it? What is there to be achieved? It's going to be a team win. I agree with you there, Joe, as well. It's going to be a team win rather than a specific win for one particular player.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you all again.
Who will prevail? Two high-level sides ready to go at it.
One more and more people just want more and more freedom and love.